Chuck Stravin has been handpicked by 4 CEOs over 15 years to bring structure and stability to the organizations. He does it through expanding sales, improving margins, and identifying growth opportunities. Chuck, welcome to the Language of Business.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for having me.
So you have managed to go during your career from manager in your first job to CEO in your last one. In the dog-eat-dog world of retail, how did you pull that feat off?
You know, really, it all comes down to having great mentors and at an early point in my career, just having access to opportunities for development. I've been part of some fast-moving entrepreneurial environments over the last 20 plus years of my career, and literally right out of college, spent the first 5 years of my career in retail and was recruited by one of my customers, Jerry Kahn and the folks at the Holmes Group in '94, in my first sales job to join a fast-moving entrepreneurial environment. So at a relatively young age, I had exposure and access to things in the business that most people don't see day to day. Sales planning, business development, strategic planning, finance, marketing, operations, you name it. Being part of a fast-moving environment throws you into the heat of the fire on a day-to-day basis. And you don't realize it at the time. You don't get caught up in and really have a true appreciation and respect for what you're seeing. But over the course of 14 or 15 years, that exposure and that visibility to the true nuances of a business, really, you develop a strong background, and that's part of the success.
Is your expertise in introducing products or repositioning them?
I think in most organizations, I'm the guy who's using data to really try to figure out what's the marketplace telling us, what is our customer telling us, and really where do we need to go. There'll be times where the marketplace is stale and you do need something innovative to get it going again, but at the same time there will be times where product just needs a basic refresh. And it's really using that data and seeing what the consumer's telling you, looking at what your retailers are telling you, and really using that data to help define where do you want to go with your product portfolio.
Have you used every single product that you have either been the CEO for their company or the representative?
I have not used every single product. I've actually kicked the tires on most, and that's probably a good thing, because it's funny. There have been some products over time where I thought, I loved the product and it was a complete dog. And there were others where I thought, you know what, there's no way this product is going to be successful. And it's actually turned out to be a home run. Looking back at my retail career, I think I learned early on that you don't make the decision for the buyer. What you really want to do is you want to position your company and really identify a value proposition going in and show to them that there's a need within the marketplace, and using facts and data to show what that need is, and then come in and position your company as having a solution to a potential problem. And you de-emphasize the focus of the widget to more what does the widget do to help solve a problem. And if you can do that, your likelihood of success will be a lot higher long term.
What has been your favorite product and your least favorite product?
Favorite product has to be back at the Holmes Group when we acquired Rival. We looked at a company that was some Massachusetts type A personalities acquiring a slower moving Midwestern company. Crock pots and can openers and things you'd look at and say, you know what, not very exciting. But as a small electrics guy by heart, that was one of the first categories that I bought right out of college. We actually developed a new technology in crock pots. Crock pots had been around for 75 years before we purchased the company. And we developed the first programmable smart smart pot. And it was a home run. As far as on the other side, there's been a few, and I would have to think that we did a joint venture with a large publicly traded company in the air freshener space years ago, and that was a perfect scenario where a lot of money and a lot of investment was made trying to get the product out into the marketplace. But at the end of the day, the technology didn't line up with what it was supposed to do, and it was a crash and burn. It was terrible.
The focus of the segment is, if at first you don't succeed, do you as the CEO look at your products as portfolios, or do you treat them as individual products?
No, you have to look at this as if you're managing the stock market. Really, you're managing a portfolio of product, hoping to maximize your return on investment and minimize your risk. And at the same time, just like the stock market, past successes are no indicator of future growth or future success. So it really is, how do you manage that portfolio, and how do you maximize the best return you possibly can while minimizing your basic, your downside or your risk. And it's funny, as I look back over 25 years, I'd use the analogy from baseball. If I had 10 at-bats, I'm going to have 2 home runs, I'm going to strike out twice. The majority of what I do is right in the middle, 1 triple, 2 doubles and 3 singles. And really it's all about getting on base. If you play smart baseball and you know how to put runners in scoring position, I think your success as a company long term would be more likely than not.
That works in the context of a baseball analogy, but Each of these products have different margins, they have different cost structures. How do you then figure out what percentage succeed, what percentage fail, and what percentage are going to break even?
Well, I think it all comes down to the metric that you're using. And at the end of the day, 20% or less will be that automatic home run where you hit it and it goes out of the park. From a metrics perspective, you're looking at things from a financial perspective. Does it hit revenue? Does it hit margin targets? You're looking at it from an engineering and from a quality control perspective. Does it fit? Is the product on time? Does it do what it's supposed to do? Do all the features and benefits line up? Can it be manufactured and produced properly? At the same time, there's a marketing component to that. Where does it fit within my portfolio? Is it going to cannibalize an existing item that's well performing, or is it something that's going to just add rocket fuel for development and for growth? And then more importantly, the metric from what does it do for my retail partners and what does it do for the consumer? If you have a product and it doesn't hit the retailer's requirements, and every retailer in America has a goal and an objective and a budget for new product launches. If it fails to meet there, or more importantly, if you get the product into the marketplace and the consumer gets it home and they're not satisfied with it and it comes back, that's all part of the equation. Having good key metrics along the development process and in the life cycle of your product is truly key. At the same time, I've been involved in companies where, as the product development process unfolds, we kill the product before it even gets to market. It didn't hit one of the metrics along the way, either on-time delivery, cost, or just some of the other assumptions in there. But I would say at a high level, 20%, using that 20% at bats, 2 out of every 10 at bats, we're going to hit it out of the park.
After 25 years of doing this, if you had to sum it up, what is the key to success? Well-engineered products or effective marketing and sales?
You have to have both, you really do. You can't take a product to market and not do anything from a marketing perspective to build awareness, because I've seen many products over the years, especially in entrepreneurial companies that are bootstrapped. You can have a great product, but if you're not able to promote the benefits and make the consumer aware of what they do, that product's going to die on the vine. I've seen the flip side as well, where you've marketed it, but engineering fell down somewhere along the way. So you really need to do both and to be successful and have it right smack in the middle.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, Greg.
Chuck Stravin, 25-year history as an expert in consumer-facing products.
The business owner's name is on the door. Is that a good thing? Coming up next on The Language of Business.